The last thing we're going to do on our value drawing is add the background, and we're going to add this gradation from dark to light, and then we're going to add the shadow of the bulb itself on the table. So we're going to work dark to light, and with that we're going to shade the whole thing the same value, the lightest value. First of all, if you have any lines left, you're going to go ahead and erase those. Any spots where you might have smudged pencil on the page, erase those. I'm going to make sure I have my paper towel or sketchbook paper under my hand as I shade so I'm not smearing what I've drawn. I'm holding the back of the pencil and I'm just shading in with the weight of the pencil. You can barely see the pencil. This is how light the whole background should be. I'm not using huge strokes as I'm shading. I'm using just really short, light strokes, and I'm kind of going in and I'm filling in any space I might have missed. I'm not trying to do this as fast as I can. I'm trying to get it more even and accurate, if anything. So I need to remember that I've left some white of the page here for the edge of the bulb. So I'm just going to make sure I avoid shading that in with this first value we're putting down. Once I have a fairly even light value put in, and I'm going to go in, I'm going to fill in maybe some spots I might have missed. But once we have that first value set in, we're going to start adding our dark values at the top and working down to the light. So I'm going to slowly add dark, moving down towards the bulb until I get this dark value and this gradation. I've moved a little bit further up the pencil. I'm still holding towards the back, and I'm just lightly adding value in over the top of what I've done. So I'm just going to slowly build this up again. I'm going to make sure I look at my reference photo and kind of figure out how far down I need to make this gradation. And right about here above the metal is where I'm going to have the value lighten up. I'm still using the same amount of pressure I used the first time through, just moving up the pencil so there's a little more weight at the end. But I don't want to darken this up too quick, because if I have to use my eraser now, it's going to be very difficult to fix this. Make sure you're going through and you're kind of filling in the gaps so the value building's a little more even. If there's spots that are a little darker, that's okay. We're gonna build the value up over this, so these little darker areas aren't that big a deal, because we're gonna end up going over this multiple times and those will start to disappear. As I'm working from the top down to the bottom, I'm just taking a little bit of pressure off the pencil as I work down, and then the opposite if I want to work from the bottom up. I just add more pressure as I get towards the top, because that top is where we're going to try to make this the darkest value we can make. You can see slowly but surely the background is starting to darken up a little bit more. You just have to have a lot of patience with this, and take your time and build it up the right way. Now I can go in a little heavier at the top since this is going to be a very dark value, and I can just build this up darker and darker, and then I'm going to do the same thing is I'm going to just lighten up with the pressure a little bit as I work down towards the base of the page. As I'm doing this, I'm just trying to go in and fill in any gaps where it might look uneven and try to smooth everything out. Now I'm adding a little more pressure and trying to build up that value even darker. Now I'm going to go through and I'm just going to darken up the outer edge of the bulb on the top to define that line just a little bit better. So now if you want to go through and blend this, don't use your fingers. Use a paper towel around the tip of your finger and blend it. If you use your finger, the oils will mix in and it'll be just kind of an uneven blend. Personal preference, I like leaving it just with the pencil marks. So I'm going to leave it the way it is. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to add the shadow of the bulb on the ground. I'm going to very lightly just sketch out the outline of where the shadow is going to land so I have an idea of where I'm going to go with the building and the value on this. I'm going to start with the spots that are going to be the darkest, and I'm just going to build the value up from there. I'm going to build up the shadow on this side of the bulb, remembering to leave some of the white of the page for that highlight. I can go through now and I can slowly build up the darker values in the threads that need to match that shadow I'm putting down underneath them. I'm just going to go back through and I'm just going to start filling in some of the spaces I feel like need a little more value building to even out the gradation. And that's it. That is the end of the final video in our light bulb drawing using different values.